apologize for the notes. I'm old, I have no memory. And I tend to digress and ramble, so this is all in our best interest. My name is Beth Hohensee. I own a floral design studio here in Asheville called Studio Flora Diva. I am in the Grove Arcade building here downtown, and we specialize in wedding and event flowers. I do not have a retail store, which is interesting, and you can ask me about that later. To tell my story briefly, I have thousands of years experience in my field. When I initially decided to take the leap of faith and go out on my own and go for it and do it my way, I had had about 20 years experience managing other businesses and other floral shops in retail. So I decided to take the leap, and the first step that I took was the dreaded business plan. And at the time, Mountain Micro Enterprises, which is now Mountain BizWorks, was available, and so I availed myself of their services and started the whole business plan process. Once I had my little business plan done, I tried conventional lending areas. I went to different banks and other service providers, and because maybe I don't do a normal thing for a living, I was not terribly well received. So, through a delightful turn of fate, I kind of ended up at two places at one time. I ended up with my sweetheart Anise Brown at the Business Technology Development Center, and I ended up at Self-Help Credit Union with Miss Jane, and they tag-teamed the daylights out of me. So what Anise did was she took that business plan and we tuned it up, 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 and we tuned it up. And I probably did my business plan at least 5 times, start to finish. And what she kept saying to me is we need to make sure that your application is as good as we can get it. At the same time, Jane was saying to me, I don't think you're crazy. I think we can lend you money, and here's how the loan process goes. So between the two of them, they were positive, they were encouraging, they were supportive, and there was a notion that because I was going to be back in the community and that we were kind of working together as a team, that we were going to be able to overcome hurdles, whatever they were. Don't worry about it, don't get scared, we'll figure it out when it comes. And they were realistic at the same time. You need to change this. This doesn't look good. These numbers don't make sense. You need to change this up. So we put together this wonderful package, and I submitted my loan to Self-Help, and lo and behold, they gave me money. And I have to say, as an old feminist, I need to give credit, and it was noteworthy that the place that I received the most help and support locally was from 2 women, and I need to acknowledge that. That was important to me, and we're still friends after 5 or 6 years. We still have coffee, and I know my girls. So that was continuing that relationship was important to me, and I'm grateful for it. So you have this long process. I'm approved for my loan. I know my people. They were willing to take into consideration my level of experience, my expertise, and the fact that I was going to be an Asheville business owner. So I decided thinking of ways that I can give back, because now we're 5 or 6 years down the road, I think. Ways that I can give back is that I have employees. I do large-scale events, small-scale events, so my employees can go from 3 to 7 to 10 people at any given time, and I have a crew of people that work with me, and they're all local people. I source as much as I can locally. There are wonderful flower farms here in the area. There's a wonderful man in Candler. I bought every single PG hydrangea that man had last year. We have local representatives for companies that sell dried and preserved materials. There's a gal in Fairview. She and I are best friends. I have a bark and twigs man. I have a little country man that if I need tree stumps, I call Russell and he says, "Baby, what you hunting?" And his whole family, I buy apples, we do fruit and events, I source fruits, vegetables, all kinds of stuff. I also decorate the Grove Arcade for Christmas every year at my cost. So if you're downtown and you're in the building and you like what you see, come tell me because it's a lot of work. And then I do work with nonprofits. I get a lot of requests to do decor for nonprofit events, and we have a little committee that meets, and I ask nonprofits that if you want me to do your decor, I'm happy to return, and do it at no cost, but if you I want to do the whole thing. So we have a little committee that reviews applications, and I try to do 2 a year, and it works great for me. I get lots of local advertising, and it works great for them because they get big, beautiful flowers and a whole cohesive event. So I guess two concluding little points. I think it's important for people to know that as someone who makes their living doing a creative business, that there are others of us in the creative arts who need funding, and I would ask that you keep an open mind when someone who makes something is an artsy-fartsy person, as I call us. We are viable. And an open mind would be very helpful. I had a lot of slam doors in my face because I wasn't making widgets. So creatives need funding too. And just throwing this out into the universe, as a startup business, one of the things that was one of my major concerns was overhead. And rent in Asheville, if any of you may or may not know, is not the least expensive part of one's monthly overhead. Sliding scale, maybe, including some utilities with the rent, a 5-year plan. That's what I would ask for. I would ask from my community to kind of think about that. Because as a startup boy, your money's flying out the door and you're the last person that's getting paid. So that might be helpful. So, and if anyone would have any questions later on, I'd be happy to answer any of them, and thank you very much.